Nobody expected the janitor to sit down at the grand piano. Nobody expected the little blind girl to reach for his hand. And nobody in that elegant hotel ballroom could have predicted that in the next 3 minutes, two broken souls would heal each other in front of everyone, including the woman who had the power to change both their lives forever. If this story already has you feeling something in your chest, you're in the right place. Like this video, drop a comment below, share it with someone who needs to believe in second chances, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because we tell the stories the world forgets to notice. Now let's go back to where it all began. Marcus Webb had not always been a janitor. There was a time, not so many years ago, when his hands existed for one purpose only, to find music inside silence, to pull something sacred out of black and white keys, to make audiences in concert halls lean forward without knowing why. He had studied at a conservatory, practiced until his fingers bled in the literal sense, and been told by more than one professor that he possessed the rarest kind of musical instinct, the kind that cannot be taught, only born. But life does not care about talent the way we wish it would. Life has its own tempo, and it rarely matches ours. When his wife left, she didn't just take her clothes and half the furniture. She took the version of Marcus that believed he deserved good things. Their daughter, Lily, was 4 years old at the time, too young to understand divorce but old enough to cry herself to sleep asking where mommy went. Marcus stopped performing 6 months after the separation, not because he wanted to, but because the gig work dried up when he missed rehearsals caring for a sick child, and the bills did not pause to mourn his dreams. He applied for the only position that called back, overnight custodial staff at the Whitmore Hotel, a luxury establishment in the city's financial district. He wore a gray uniform now instead of a black tuxedo. He pushed a mop down marble hallways where, once, men like him had performed for standing ovations. He never told anyone at work that he could play. Not his supervisor, not the front desk staff, not the cheerful concierge named Darnell who always saved him a cup of coffee. He kept that part of himself folded up and stored somewhere interior, the way you store a photograph of someone you've lost, not thrown away, just tucked somewhere it won't hurt you every single day. Lily was 9 now, and she was everything. She was the reason Marcus took double shifts, the reason he ate peanut butter sandwiches for dinner so she could have a real meal, the reason he smiled even on the nights when smiling felt physically impossible. She was also the reason he had recently begun to notice the little girl with the white cane who visited the hotel every Thursday evening. Her name was Sophie, and she was 8 years old, and she was brought to the Whitmore each week by a rotating set of social workers from a children's residential facility across town. The hotel, as part of a community partnership program, allowed underprivileged children occasional access to its enrichment spaces, the library room, the indoor garden, and most importantly, the music lounge, where a grand piano sat beneath a chandelier like something from a different century. Sophie was blind from birth, a condition affecting both optic nerves, and according to the social worker who once explained this to Marcus when he was cleaning nearby, the girl had never once complained about it. What she had done, from the time she was barely old enough to reach a keyboard, was play piano by ear with an accuracy that made grown adults stop walking and stand completely still. Marcus had heard her play twice before through the closed door of the lounge while he buffed the hallway floor. The second time, he had to stop and lean against the wall and breathe carefully, because what she was playing was Debussy, not simplified, not approximated, but rendered with a sensitivity that felt almost impossible for an 8-year-old who had never seen sheet music in her life. On the Thursday that changed everything, Sophie arrived and sat down at the piano as usual, but something was different. She played a few notes, then stopped. Played again, then stopped. The social worker, a kind but distracted young woman scrolling her phone in the corner, barely noticed. But Marcus noticed, because Marcus was mopping the far end of the lounge that evening, trying to stay invisible the way he always did. Sophie's small hands hovered over the keys without pressing them. Her head turned slightly as though listening for something that wasn't coming. And then, very quietly, she began to cry, not loudly, not dramatically, just a small and private leaking of tears that a child produces when she doesn't want anyone to see her falling apart. Marcus set down his mop. He told himself not to. He told himself it was not his place, that he was the janitor, that he should finish the baseboard and go clock out and go home to Lily. But his legs were already carrying him across the room, and before his brain could authorize the action, he was sitting down on the piano bench beside her. Sophie, startled slightly at the warmth of another person beside her, tilted her head upward in that particular way that blind people orient themselves toward a presence. Marcus did not say anything grand or clever. He simply placed his hands on the keys and began to play. He played the opening of a piece he had written himself, years ago, during the first winter after his daughter was born, a melody that had no title because he'd composed it only for himself, a private conversation between a new father and the terrifying beauty of loving someone more than you love your own survival. He hadn't played it since his wife left. He wasn't sure, until that moment, that he still could. Sophie stopped crying. Her chin lifted. Her small hands, still resting in her lap, began to move almost involuntarily, fingers tracing shapes in the air above the keys as she listened and understood and translated. Then, without any discussion or coordination, she joined him. She found the harmony the way water finds the shape of whatever holds it, naturally, inevitably, as if it had always been there waiting. The social worker looked up from her phone. The chandelier above them seemed, impossibly, to shimmer. Neither of them saw the woman standing in the doorway. She had arrived to discuss a private event booking with hotel management and had taken a wrong turn down the corridor. She was an Arts Foundation director, well known in the city's philanthropic community, a woman who had spent 20 years funding music education programs and searching, as she often said in interviews, for the thing that still had the power to surprise her. She stood in the doorway of the Whitmore Music Lounge with her hand over her mouth, watching a janitor in a gray uniform and a blind little girl in pigtails play something so unrehearsed and so devastating and so completely alive that she felt, at 53 years old, as though she were hearing music for the very first time. She did not interrupt them. She waited until the last note finished breathing in the air above the piano. Then she stepped inside, and introduced herself, and asked Marcus a question that would reconstruct the entire architecture of his life. She asked him if he had ever considered teaching. If you have a child in your life who struggles to feel seen, share this story with someone who needs to hear it tonight. Before you go, drop the word piano in the comments if this story moved you. It helps us know you're out there, and it means the world to every person on our team who works to bring these stories to life. If this story touched your heart the way we hoped it would, please like this video, leave us a comment, share it forward, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because somewhere out there, a janitor is still sitting at a piano, and a child is still waiting for someone to play beside her. Don't let those moments go unwitnessed. We'll see you in the next story.